Hello and welcome to the Pmbok Guide 4th edition Turbo Drive. The purpose of this webinar is to very quickly show you the basics of the Pmbok Guide 4th edition. Those of you who have been studying the 3rd edition and are suddenly faced with this new exam coming up in June probably want to know a little bit more about what is in the Pmbok Guide 4th edition. First off, let's have some candid discussion about the PMI. The PMI is the leading global association for the project management profession, founded in 1969. They've been around for a long time. It's a not-for-profit organization, and they have been key in implementing project management standards and techniques in the world today. Also, the PMP, PGMP, and Capm are certifications that you obtain after passing the exams associated with those certifications. The most popular one is the PMP. The PMI has been key in advancing the practice, science, and profession of project management worldwide. Right now, we've got over 420,000 members and also several credential holders. Over 250 chapters in 70 countries, so the PMI has been around for a while and is here to stay. There are 11 global standards including program and portfolio management by the PMI. And also there are 2 million guides to the Pmbok out there in circulation today. The PMI has been very helpful in enabling businesses start or build and advance their careers in project management, in program management, to help their businesses grow, and also to create structure. And in addition, to enable project managers speak a single language. Very often you have project managers from different walks of life not being able to communicate effectively between themselves because they've got different terminologies for different things, different tools. What PMI has done in the Pmbok Guide is enable project managers understand what project management is about in a uniform way, such that when they interact on projects, they're able to speak to each other in the language they understand. The PMP exam, which is the most popular of all the exams that PMI offers, requires documented experience and also formal education. It's here to stay, and it's globally expanding in reach. The project manager is the key focus in the PMP exam and the Pmbok doctrine. The project manager is responsible for all aspects of the project and the life of the project. The project manager needs to know what is expected of him in an organization where he's meant to be the project manager, and also he's meant to be leading and directing cross-functional teams. So in order to get this certification, you should have enough experience under your belt. You can find out more about that at www.pmi.org. And also, the project manager needs to demonstrate sufficient knowledge and experience to apply a methodology to projects. Why PMP? Well, it demonstrates your professionalism and also just the rigor in preparing for the PMP exam and going through that 4-hour exam with 200 questions will sharpen your knowledge and skills in project management. It also affords you networking options through PMI chapters. It also affords you greater professional options and possibilities. Several of the jobs out there for project managers in the world today require that you be certified project manager. The most preferential, most preferred certification is actually the PMP certification, as you'll find out. There are lots of others out there and lots of other methodologies like the Agile methodology, rapid application development approach. You've even got the Prince2 framework and the Prince2 mindset. And we've got ITIL and all other good ways of managing projects and managing initiatives in organizations. But the number one that most people actually ask about is the PMP certification. It gives you a voice in your organization. So you stop being all mouth to actually having something behind you to prove, because people know that you need to have done project management for a number of years before you actually take this exam. So it definitely is a good certification to have, regardless. Now let's look at growth in PMP certification. All the way down in 1998, you can see how the growth over the years has been, from 1998 all the way up to 2007, which is when this snapshot was taken. You can see that the PMI certification holders grew from roughly 10,000 all the way up to 240,000. Now we're talking about the PMP. Don't forget, you've got lots of other certifications that the PMI offers. In that regard, you have several more, not just 240 plus thousand. In fact, it's growing at such an alarming rate that you need to find out more statistics. So if you want to be in that number of PMPs, I advise you, once again, go to pmi.org and find out how you can be PMP certified. Now, this video is really geared at educating people who already know about the PMI, what they need to know about the 4th edition, the Pmbok Guide 4th edition, because it's a relatively new publication that just came out at the beginning of the year. So it will definitely help you to know what exactly is in the Pmbok. Before we jump into that, let's look at the statistics worldwide. Talking about memberships, we've got 70% of the membership, obviously, from the United States. That's the biggest chunk. And then we've got 11% membership in the EMEA region and 14% membership in the rest of the world. And then as far as PMPs are concerned, you can see that the majority of PMPs are in the United States, but we've also got several other PMPs worldwide. So it does help to know the footprint. Wherever you go in the world, the PMP has presence, the PMI has presence, and it's definitely in high demand. Now let's talk about the Pmbok Guide. What is the Pmbok Guide? There's so many schools of thought regarding project management, but the Pmbok Guide brings them all together. The Pmbok Guide isn't written by just one or two people. You've got several contributors to the Pmbok Guide. You've got several people that actually go through the Pmbok Guide and make recommendations. So the Pmbok Guide is the sum of knowledge within project management. It contains widely approved, proven best practices, and it's constantly evolving. We've had several editions of the Pmbok Guide out since inception. The Pmbok Guide is directed towards project management personnel. So as you go through the Pmbok Guide, it makes sense to you if you've actually done project management in the real world. Now, let's talk about the chunk of the Pmbok Guide, the core of the Pmbok Guide. Processes of project management map to what we call a knowledge area. Knowledge areas refers to areas in general project management skills that a project manager should have. And those are in yellow in this column on the left. And up here at the top, we've got the process groups, project management process groups. Knowledge areas refers to general knowledge. Process groups refers to a project management life cycle. So if you ever hear the term project management life cycle, that is the different phases in a project that you go through when you're managing the project, that is really what the process groups are all about. Initiating a project, planning a project, executing a project, monitoring and controlling a project, and closing. All projects, to one degree or another, go through the project management life cycle, also known as the project management process groups. Initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. On the left here, we've got different areas of project management, general management skills that the project manager should have. And those are project integration management, how well you're able to integrate a project and coordinate a project. Then we move on to the next knowledge area, project scope management. That has to do with how you control the scope of the project. A lot of times, projects start out with people defining 5 things to do. And by the end of the project, they end up with a long list of 20, 30 things. And the reason for that is inefficient scope management.